everybody into tonight's Champion Power Equipment iRacing Truck Series action from Indianapolis Raceway Park, IRP in store for us tonight. We got the trucks going around this little short racetrack, this bull ring, if you will. I'm Austin Edstrom, standing alongside Brian Britt. Austin Derbyshire is behind the production booth, as always, as we get an aerial view here of IRP. Brian, I know you like the short tracks a little bit, so what do you think of old IRP here?
This is a pretty unique short track. I mean, kind of use the top lane more than anything, the middle to the top. Of course, this is a 0.69 mile racetrack. Very difficult to pass. You're going to have to use that top lane. And I think in order to make passes, you're going to probably have to shoot down to the bottom and do slide jobs. This is going to be a fun one. I'm not sure what to expect. This could bring some short track tempers tonight.
I think could is a... it's not a strong enough word. I think we need to use a little bit stronger vocabulary, like there will be fists being thrown if this was not a virtual race at the end of the night. I'm telling you, like, there's gonna be people screaming over the radio. Unfortunately, we cannot have the radio chat on the stream for you guys, because I promise you, it's gonna get hairy tonight at some point. Somebody's gonna say something that they're gonna wish that they could take back. It's just the kind of racing that you get whenever you come to a place like this.
Yeah, for sure. And, of course, last week we were at Pocono Raceway, the Tricky Triangle. I do believe Robbie Keneally actually won at Pocono last week. And we did see some drama there at Pocono. Could that spill over into our IRP as well? Lucas Oil Raceway. It's very possible. But let's look at the keys to the race here tonight, of course. My first key is going to be put your patient pants on. This is a track you're going to have to be patient at. You're going to be stuck behind drivers for a long time. This is very difficult to pass here, and that's where that short track temper thing kind of comes in. The second one, of course, is going to be track position is very important at this place. I mean, the patient part, those two kind of go together in a way. Qualifying is going to be incredibly key here. If you qualify back in the field, you're going to have some troubles. Of course, our third one is going to be don't burn your stuff up. Very easy to burn your tires up at this place. I mean, I have heard that if you kind of slide them a little bit too much, you could see some tire fall off. It's quite, pretty large tire fall off.
Yeah, it's easy to overcook them here. A flat racetrack where you're just absolutely flying down the straightaways and then heavy on the binders down into the corners. It's an abrasive place. We're going to move into our broadcast picks, and, well, I don't know if we should be, if we should play these out or just, click them all at once, because we're all picking Keegan Sabilo. Surprisingly, Sabilo qualified in 5th. We thought he was going to be a little higher. Actually, Darby switched it up on us. He went with last week's winner, Caleb Mitchell. Excuse me. I stopped paying attention during the pre-race to my producer. Apparently, I thought he was going Sabilo. He's going with the teammate that picked up the W last week. So, all team Sabilo, though, still, even if it's not a three-way Sabilo, it is still a same team. So not really too big of a surprise.
Yeah, I almost was thinking about changing it there before when I saw how qualifying is going. Carter Casey right now is at the top of the board, qualified on the pole, which is shocking considering Sabilo qualified or was practiced. He was at the top of the board in practice.
Hey, that's the thing about qualifying, though, man. Even if you're the fastest guy on the short tracks, like Sabilo is, the going away favorite, all it takes is one mistake on the qualifying lap, and it costs you a ton. And I think that's all that really happened to Sabilo tonight. It's not like he's too far back either. He ran a decent qualifying lap, but it was just over a 1/10 of a second behind Carter Casey for that lead. Puts him in 5th place, and we'll have to see if he can come through the field as the tires wear tonight. But we're going to jump through our starting lineup. Starting up on the pole is Carter Casey running that 21.703. Andrew Hale starting on his outside in 2nd place. 3rd place is going to be Ryan Jollick in that 0-2 car. Cody Hemingway is going to be starting on his outside in 4th. 5th place is going to be Keegan Sabilo on his outside. It's going to be his teammate, Caleb Mitchell, last week's winner, the only guy to visit victory lane other than James Harris this season. John Ledger starting in 7th with Nick Jazwowski in 8th. Tony Ritter starting on the inside of row number 5 with John Lacido starting in 10th.
And just to correct you, it was actually Robbie Keneally that won last week at Pocono. I just figured that out before we actually went green here. 11th place, James Harris. Harley Barletta, 12th place. Kenneth Garrell, 13th. Brad Thacker, 14th. Jason Taylor going to be starting 15th. Brian High starts in 16th. George Young, 17th. 18th, William Mann Jr. in 19th. James Loveland rounds out this 19 car field. But definitely excited to see a lot of cars here for this short track, this 0.69 mile racetrack.
I can Pocono completely slipped my mind. I was not able to be here last week, so in my mind, Pocono never happened.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking 2 weeks behind.
I forgot about who won this well, and then I reminded myself and figured it out. But then I was like Atlanta last week. I don't think we were at Atlanta last week.
2 weeks ago, it was a barn burner, man. Atlanta was a fantastic race.
I wasn't there at Atlanta.
I know.
See,
I know. I hate you missed that one. It was absolutely awesome. And you kept throwing out Keneally's name, and I was like, I don't even see Keneally in the running order. I don't remember that name. You throw me off with that, and I was like, man, I missed a lot.
He started like I think it was like 26th or something, like way far back in the pack at Pocono, and ran his way all the way up to first place, which was shocking for sure. But I think we're going to see some awesome racing here tonight. I mean, we got some really good short track drivers up here in the top 10. I mean, Cody Hemingway, he's been one that's been really impressing me here. I think he's going to be one that's going to get to victory lane at some point. We've seen him be very competitive. And the thing is, I think he's on the same team with Sabilo, so you can definitely tell that Sabilo's team seems to be a bunch of short track juggernauts. But Carter Casey, look at him with the kind of surprise cue here.
Yeah, picking the top side at IRP. I mean, on the initial start, you're going even with the guy next to you, so is the outside going to be that big of an advantage? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. It might be what he needs to actually hang on to the position coming out of turn 2. So we'll have to wait and see for Carter Casey on that start. But the outside line is the preferred groove mostly, so not too shocking to see him up there. A little bit of a smaller car count tonight. I think the fact that we're at a very, very short bull ring has scared a couple people away this morning.
Yeah, I can't blame him. I mean, this would be a track I'd probably be pretty intimidated by as well. I mean, this is not an easy track. I mean, it's very easy to hit the wall. You know, it is fun to kind of try to rip the fence at this place, but, you know, it's very easy to make a mistake as well. As we get ready to enter turn number 3, pace car dips down pit road.
I'm sure we're going to see our fair share of accidents tonight, even with the smaller field. There's a reason why it scared a couple people and made them stay home tonight. It's IRP. It's downright dangerous. And Carter Casey's going to lead us down to the green flag for the first time tonight. Who's going to survive and who's going to take that checkered flag at the end of the night?
Yeah, pretty tame start so far. But look at Keegan Sabilo already taking him 3 wide, ripping the apron. He is all the way down at the bottom of the racetrack, pouncing on positions here. He is going to take Ryan Jalick's position possibly. Can he do it? Look at Sabilo. He is rocketing around the bottom of the racetrack, but unfortunately not able to get any positions off it. But, I mean, I got to love the boldness displayed by that 77.
Yeah, Sabilo, I mean, obviously. Oh, Rick and Big back, further back. John Thacker, Nick Jazbowski. Sorry, I think Jazbowski might have gotten in it, or, you know, may have been a part of the start of that.
Yeah, I see Kenneth Garrell. He was the one that seemed
Jason
to have
Taylor's in there.
Garrell seemed to be the one that went around the most there. Looks like, I don't think a lot of damage was paid out there, though. Let's see. Yep. Garrell was the first one that initially went around. And unfortunately, you see Thacker and Taylor both kind of victims in this. I don't think there was too much damage in that, though. I mean, this is kind of a short track, low-speed collisions. We're going to see a lot of stuff like this tonight, I do have a feeling. You see Garrell trying to avoid, I do believe, the rear end. Who was that in front of him? Jabowski, I think he was trying to avoid.
Maybe. And to your point, there's not going to be a ton of damage tonight, and these guys do have a fast repair. So I think it's going to take a lot to knock somebody out of this race. It's going to take a couple impacts, a couple hits, something massive. Something like that where you get spun down into the corner. It's not going to be big enough here. Unless you really, really damage the suspension on one of your tires, like in one of the corners. I think you're probably going to be okay on most impacts here. Maybe unless you, like, overcorrect it into the outside wall as you're coming on throttle, maybe.
Yeah, for sure, but already a little bit of a dramatic start here to this race, and definitely curious to see how this is going to go. Or do we get any long green runs? Of course, we have 4 sets of tires all together. I think 3 in the pits. Will we see anybody maybe play around with strategy? I don't think it's going to happen this early, but I think at some point tires are going to matter. But how much are they going to matter? How, you know, it's good. One thing about tracks like this is you're going to see a lot of guys having to make weigh some decision, weigh some options here. I mean, taking tires versus track position, that's going to be pretty much what's going to be on these guys' minds all night long. What is the advantage? Do I take tires? Will I be able to make it up?
We're going to have to wait and see. I do think tires are going to be huge as this race builds on, though. It's just, are we going to get a long enough a flag run to see it matter? Carter Casey coming back to the green flag, ending our first caution period of the night. Taking lap number 6, and we're back under the green flag.
One good thing is we're having these short cautions. They're not very long. That's a good thing.
We don't have any lap down cars yet.
Yeah, that's true. Carter Casey, though, able to maintain the lead. Kalen Mitchell.
Lucido gets put in the fence.
Oh, no.
A little bit further back, couldn't quite tell who it was. It might have been Jazboski. No, sorry. I think it was Jalek. Ryan Jalek just drove it in too deep into turn 3, and Lucido was the guy that found the fence because of it.
And Jalek, of course, he started on the podium. Unfortunately, has fallen all the way back to 7th place. We got a heated battle going on for 2nd right now. Cody Hemingway fighting with Kalen Mitchell. These are teammates battling it out right now, as well as they have, I do believe, team owner right behind them in 4th place. You can see Carter Casey watching as the Sabilo Esports drivers behind him start to pounce, almost like they're going to ambush the 8 machine.
And this is one of those racetracks you can just never take a break. I mean, even if you want to find yourself a moment, just on one of these straightaways, just to find a second to just relax. You just don't have time, because even if if you could find a moment to take a couple breaths in that short straightaway, you're bound to have somebody making a move on you, or you're closing up on somebody in front of you, especially on these restarts. There's just no time to get away. And these corners are so long, man. It takes up half the lap just turning.
Yeah, you're 100% right. There is not going to be a whole lot of time to relax at this place. It's a very physically demanding racetrack. Of course, there is some battles that are starting to come to head here. John Lucido fighting with Nick Jaboski. That's and Ryan Jalek. Jalek actually for that 7th place position. And you can see as well James Harris in the Shark champion machine. Oh, big loose condition there from William Mann Jr. He's able to save it. Look at this race right now, though, for 8th.
Not much between these guys as they come off of turn number 2. Finally, a little bit of breathing space. But, yeah, you mentioned Jalek falling earlier. He started in the top 3. He's about to lose the top 10. About to lose 9th, and Barletta's right behind him in 10th, looking to take it on the outside, too.
And Barletta, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, last week was able to earn his first podium position at Pocono. So Barletta has really been heating up. Yeah, I mean, that was his best finish I think he's ever had. First time I ever actually was able to talk to him in the booth, which was interesting, to say the least. Nice guy. So happy to have him up in the booth. And I know he's got to be hungry to get back up into the booth. Carter Casey there, pulling away. Look at the gap Casey's got right now. 7/10 on Cody Hemingway. Hemingway has gotten by teammate, of course, Kalen Mitchell, as Mitchell tries to get back to the inside. He's going to give the 77, though, the top lane. That's where you want to be. Oh, he just barely slides up in front of his teammate.
Yeah, 3 teammates fighting here for 2nd. There's a gap to 1st that you mentioned a moment ago. Now, is that gap because Casey's pushing too hard, or was that because Cody and Kalen were pushing a little bit too hard at the beginning of this run, or are they saving right now? Like, there's a tangible reason for that gap, and I don't think it's just strictly because Carter Casey is faster than the guys behind him. I think it's a little bit too early to say that for certain, but, because it's so early, 15 laps in, and we've had that caution period, I think it's, the right time to question how heavy are certain people saving, and are certain people maybe pushing a little too hard, maybe looking at Casey pushing out to just about a 2nd lead over Hemingway.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, but it also could have something to do with clean air. I know that this is, a short track. A lot of people are like, what are you talking about, clean air? But I think it matters at a track like this. I mean, this is a track where handling is very, very important. And if you have, clean air dumping on the front of that nose, it gives you a little bit better turn. And that could be why Casey's able to just kind of pull away a little bit and maybe not sacrifice as much of his resources. I mean, lap time-wise, he is the fastest car on the track still. I mean, he pulls out to almost 9/10 of a second at the moment. Now, Kalen Mitchell, we just completed that lap. He was a little bit faster. Keegan Sabilo was a little bit faster. So it's kind of a little bit of a seesaw when it comes to the lap times right now.
Well, the way I'm seeing the 3 behind him running, looks like they're running a little bit smoother, easier lines on the tires. They're not pushing them as hard. Maybe Mitchell, now that he's on the defensive, is pushing them a little bit harder. But Carter is running a very aggressive line, way out to the outside, cutting that thing back down, using as much throttle as he can, like getting that thing straight, driving it right, but driving it hard. The other guys behind him, I can tell that they just don't quite have their foot on the gas just yet.
So they're being a little bit more smooth. They're waiting until they unwind the wheel until they get back onto the gas. And that's a big deal at a track like this. I mean, I'm not sure what the different lines will do to your tires. I mean, you know, of course, you know, other tracks, you think the bottom is going to be the way to save the tire. So I don't know if that's the case at this racetrack. I mean, if you have any sort of an advantage there, because, I mean, I see Keegan's kind of been running a little bit of a lower line. The 82, Nick Jaboski, he's starting to catch up. Or should I say John Lucido is starting to catch up to Jaboski. You kind of see a big gap between 5th and 6th right now. As Lucido, he actually's got a pretty good bit of speed here tonight. And seeing fall off, though, is starting to affect all these drivers quite a bit. About a half a second of fall off already.
Starting to affect them. And you were mentioning the bottom line maybe being a tire saving line. It definitely is. You're just letting the car roll into the corner. You're using the very inside, you know, I say the inside line. You're really a whole lane up off the apron, but that inside line is debanked. So what you do, you run a lane off of that to run what's really the inside of the racetrack. And you dip your left front tire down into the debanked portion ever so slightly, especially on the exit of the corner. And it just keeps the front end of the truck rotating. And if you hit it perfect, it really stays tires on exit. It saves a lot through the center of the so I think that's more what Sabilo's doing now, what he's trying to make more work, but I also think it's going to be harder and harder to pass as the grip goes away on tires, even if you do find yourself with a little bit more grip than the guy in front of you.
Well, I'll tell you, Casey seems to be kind of starting to fall off more and more. I mean, but everybody kind of is falling off at the same rate. I mean, I'm looking at guys hit 22.6s, 22.7s now. You know, when they first started off, was hitting 22 flats, essentially, you know, around that lap time. So, I mean, the fall off continues. I'm wondering when it is going to plateau. I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. I hope we see over a second of fall off. I think it's very possible. And that's big for a track where the lap times are about 20 seconds.
Well, if this green flag run lasts another 10, 15 laps, you're going to see it. I guarantee you. It's just, are we going to get that long enough of a green flag run? It's looking pretty nice right now. I don't want to jinx it. We got, you know, good separation between a lot of these guys, and everybody's keeping each other fair, nice and even between a lot of folks. So I'm tending to lead towards the chance that we're going to have a lot of tire wear tonight. We're going to have that long green flag run, and we might be in the start of it right now.
Yeah, no, I think for sure. I mean, we are seeing some racing further back. I see William Mann Jr. kind of fighting with Brian High. We also see Keegan Sabilo now further up to the front of the field, now fighting for that third position once again. And you see as Andrew Hale. I think Keegan probably doesn't want to fight with his teammate, but I don't think he's got much of a choice. I mean, Hale is not a driver that's just going to sit behind you and hang out. As Keegan does finally make the position, he is going to be moving up to third to try to chase down Cody Hemingway.
And Keegan's starting to move up the racetrack a little bit, so you can tell he's starting to push a little bit. I think he's been holding it back. As soon as he got clear into third there, he moved up in 3 and 4. Here through 1 and 2. Through the center of the corner, washes up a little bit, but not too much. Maybe going back to the saving ever so slightly. But I think it's going to be go time pretty soon for a few of these guys that have been saving a little bit. Looking at maybe Sabilo, maybe even Hale, who's come on strong here looking for fourth.
Well, at the moment, Keegan Sabilo is the fastest car on the racetrack, 22.561. He is, you know, well, I should say last time Cody Hemingway was, but the time before that, it was Sabilo. So these guys are definitely showing some really good pace. And now that Sabilo has a little bit more room to kind of wiggle with, he's going to catch up to this 10 machine. Now, does the 10 fight him as hard as Kalen Mitchell did? We're going to have to wait and see. Carter Casey, of course, about a half a second out in front of the 10. So these guys are remaining relatively close. You know, usually at tracks like this, you see wide gaps, and I think we did have that for a second, but it has started to accordion effect in a lot of ways. We're seeing the battle starting to heat up throughout this track.
Yeah, and it's heating up for second. Sabilo all over the back bumper of his teammate. He's passed one, trying to get past another so that he can run down your race leader of Carter Casey, who's still running that very, very outside line, not willing to back it down. And, well, to be fair, they've got 3 sets of tires behind the pit wall. So if a caution flag comes out now, you might as well come down and pit. This is going to be one of your longest green flag runs of the night. So if you're Casey, push it as hard as you can. Hope for that yellow flag to come out and hang on to that track position at this point.
Well, it's going to be so difficult to pass Casey as well. So, I mean, if he just holds that top line and if he's just fast enough to keep that driver behind him, I think he's going to be fine. I mean, I just I'd stay up the top line. I mean, that's a really good defensive line around this place. The only way I see Casey getting past is, of course, if somebody is just hasn't saved their tires that much or they get above him. If they're able to stick their nose above him, that could be an option here. I mean, at a track like this, the top line is going to be like gold. You want to stay up there, especially in the long, long runs. And you can see lap times continuing to fall off. Jaboski now in a fight for 6th, though, with John Lucido. You can see it looks like Lucido, I think, almost has the pass completed. But look at that. See, this is what I'm talking about. Jaboski, if he was able to keep that nose above the 73, he would have been able to still fight for that spot. But he was not able to. So it looks like Lucido is going to secure that 6th place position.
Good move from Lucido to take 6th place. Like you said, the 82 could not quite keep the right rear. And once you get passed by some on the inside, even if you get back to their inside, I don't think you're repassing them. They've already proven they're quicker than you. Once they have that outside groove on you, there's just nothing you can do. So for the rest of this run, I feel like Jaboski's just going to be staring at the back bumper of the 73 unless Lucido makes a big mistake. I gotta say, though, the top 5 still super tight. 1.3 seconds between 1st to 5th, and it's starting to get tighter up front. Hemingway is starting to catch Carter Casey.
Oh, yeah, he's right on his rear end, essentially. Only 2/10 separate those drivers. The top 3 are all within 4/10 of one another, all right there, kind of throw a blanket over them, essentially here.
Oh, teammates collide through 3 and 4. Hemingway saves it, but Sabilo got a little too close.
Yeah, and and I guarantee you Casey's probably happy to see that. He's probably breathing quite a sigh of relief at the moment because, I mean, that gap went from about 2/10 to now 8/10, 9/10. That gives him a little bit of a breathing room, kind of to let him kind of cool those tires back down a little bit and maybe pull away. I mean, that might have hurt
some 15
tires.
or 20 laps at least.
And that's going to hurt the 10's tires, too, to be sideways like that. Of course, Sabilo being held up by the 10, and, that's his teammate. He doesn't want to rough him up too much, but at a short track like this, you cannot just be patient or I should say you need to put your patient pants on for sure, but then there's also that pressure that's on you to get up there and attack the leader. And you can see Sabilo, he has that pressure on him as he attacks the 10 here.
Hemingway got the fence. He ends up letting Sabilo go. Now we're going to have to see, can Keegan Sabilo run down your race leader? He's gotten by 2 of his teammates into the 2nd place spot. 2 of us picked him in the pre-race picks. It was an easy pick. It was a slam dunk. It was such a slam dunk that I thought all 3 of us made the pick, even though only 2 of us did. 3 of us should have. And now Sabilo's second.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is he, he's doing so well right now, but still, you can clearly see the track position has been very, very important. That, him starting in 5th, it took a long time for him to get up there to 2nd place. I mean, it took 40 laps for him to pass 4 cars. I mean, that's a long time to pass just 4 cars.
That's a great point, to be honest with you. That's a really fair point. It's taken him 40 laps to pass 4 cars, and it hasn't been an easy road. I mean, Kayla Mitchell gave him fits for a handful of laps. Finally got by him. Hemingway gave it to him a little bit easier after Sabilo made some contact, and now he's running down your race leader. He's been faster than him the last couple times by 0.2 of a second that Sabilo has over Carter Casey whenever he doesn't make a mistake. That last time it was a 10th. But that 77 is quicker than the 8, and it is only a matter of time unless that yellow flag finally does fly.
Yeah, no, he's definitely flying right now, and he's right up to the back bumper already. What does Casey do? Can he hold him off? I mean, it seems like Keegan's fairly comfortable running that bottom line. But you could tell that 8 is trying to now take that line away. Casey was running the top, but now I think he's looking in the review and he's like, okay, the 77's running low. I cannot give him that lane. That seems to be where he wants to run. If I run, in his lane, maybe I can hold him off. And I think it might be successful. We'll have to wait and see.
I get wanting to shut him off and take his lane away, but, man, you can't give him your right rear. Because now, look, Sabilo's going higher in 1 and 2 here, seeing, okay, well, maybe I can build a run and actually get down to your inside since you're covering me off. Or maybe you cover me off so heavy that I can find your right rear quarter panel, and that's going to be completely game over. Almost does it through 3 and 4. Instead, he pulls the cut back. Not going to be able to get the momentum off of 4.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, they're playing mind games right now. You know, Casey, he's got a lot of pressure on him, and all it takes is one mistake from Casey here. Of course, and Keegan, he's a seasoned veteran. This guy, you know, he might be young. He's still a teenager, essentially, but he is a real-life short-track driver. This guy knows what he needs to do to get good finishes in real life, and you can see right there, trying to go side by side. He is now side by side. They are battling for the lead. And Sabilo, can he get it? Oh, he's getting a little bit tight. They are very close. You could almost put a piece of paper between them there in the middle of 1 and 2, but it looks like, well, I think it's done. Keegan Sabilo has made the pass.
Oh, he does the slider down into turn number 3. Carter Casey's not able to cut him back. You could just see Sabilo on the bottom side of the racetrack dipping 2 wheels down in that bottom lane the entire time, keeping that truck rotating. Even though he's getting tight, it keeps the truck rotating. You can get the throttle down even if you feel a little tight. He was able to do it to perfection out of turn number 2 and then dive deep into 3 and take the spot. What a move from Sabilo. It took him 45 laps to get up to the lead from 5th, but now that he's got it, unless pit strategy gets thrown in the way, it's going to be hard to see the 77 go further back than first.
Yeah, no, I agree. But one thing we got to keep in mind, Carter Casey now, you know, he's a good driver. And he is kind of known to be a short track driver on iRacing as well. I've known this guy for a couple years and always been very talented in the short tracks. I would be a little bit, if I was in Carter Casey's shoes right now, I'd start going to school, Austin. I'd be like, okay, you got by me. Let me watch you. Let me figure out how you're doing this, right?
Well, that would work if Sabilo was doing what got him to the front, out front now. But he's not. And he's driving into both these corners the exact same way Carter Casey's been driving into it the entire night, drifting up high all the way to the wall and letting it drift back down because he's got the best tire in the field now. He can use them a little bit. He can build that gap because he knows that as soon as the yellow flag comes down, everybody's taking these tires off. You're putting another set of tires on. So might as well build that lead as much as possible. He's running this track as, you know, just about as aggressive as you can. He's starting to get down a little bit lower to the bottom through 3 and 4. But, you know, for Casey to learn, he's got to see Sabilo in the tire saving mode. And that's running the bottom nonstop.
That's true. I mean, and he's probably not going to be able to see him for very long the way he's pulling away on him now. I mean, 9/10 of a second, and he just passed him a few laps ago. And I don't think Casey's out of the woods yet either. I mean, he's got Cody Hemingway, who's starting to catch up as well. Andrew Hale has been turning some really fast laps. I mean, he's not exactly on par with Keegan Sabilo, but he's close when it comes to his lap times. So I would not be surprised if that 4 machine catches up and maybe gets by Hemingway and Casey and maybe works his way up into second. Oh, a little bit of a wiggle there from Hemingway. A lot of these guys are starting to struggle. Lap times have fallen off almost a second, and you can just see that these guys are so on edge right now.
They haven't even fallen off a second yet. That actually surprises me. Only 7 tenths.
Some guys have.
Well, yeah, true. 7 tenths for Sabilo, who's saved the tires, you know, the best in the field. For Casey, it has dropped off a second now. So that's that's telling right there. Who's best at tire saving? Keegan Sabilo.
Isn't that just crazy though? Isn't that just crazy though? The man passed 5 drivers or 4 drivers or whatever, how many ever people he passed, and he was saving tire that whole time. Like how? Like I mean, like
if this thing runs green, he's gonna lap him. He's gonna pass him again if it runs green the whole way.
It's just got to be some sort of technique he's using, and that's the thing about it. Austin, you'd even probably say this is true as well. The best drivers on iRacing aren't slow in saving tires. They're fast in saving tires at the same time. Like,
yeah, he maintained position and saved tires for the first 25 laps. That's a really, really good driver at a particular style of track. I can tell you right now, Keegan's still working at that at the 1.5 miles. So whenever he saves tires at the 1.5 miles, he gives up 5 to 10 places. But whenever he does it at the short tracks, he maintains or gives up 1 or 2 and keeps himself with decent track position. But now he's got the best tires, so he's just going to blow everybody's doors off. And, well, at the short tracks, I mean, you're seeing it right now. It is disgusting. 2.5 seconds that he's got over second. And, that puts us a third of the way through the race. Which
I think he's also a team builder as well. I think that Keegan, you know, has passed on some of his skills to his teammates. I mean, like Cody Hemingway. I mean, look at how good he seems to be as well. Kalen Mitchell. I mean, I think he's passing these skills on to these guys as well.
I'd have to agree with you. Kalen Mitchell getting his first win just a couple of weeks ago, and Keegan Sabilo looking to get his first win of the season tonight. Be sure to stay with us as we go to our first commercial break so that we can find out on the other side if Keegan Sabilo can finish this one off.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the Champion Power Equipment iRacing Truck Series, and unfortunately we are under the yellow flag, and that's because Nick Jazabowski will not win this race. He has spun out of turn number 2, and he's lost all that track position. He was fighting to the inside of John Lucido, and unfortunately he's gone from 7th down to the back.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. You see Lucido right there getting a little tired. He's off the gas, and I think, well, you see Jabowski kind of touches the 73. Trying to pass. He was trying to pounce on the 73, kind of getting a little bit slow, and unfortunately, they touched, and he spun out of 2. That's unfortunate to see for sure. I think we're going to have another look at that as we're looking on board. You can see Lucido a little bit slow up on the higher side, and I think maybe Lucido kind of came down a little bit as well, probably trying to avoid the wall, maybe.
I mean, you're trying to get as straight of a run off the corner as possible to make sure that you can keep the throttle into it. It's just, two guys coming together coming off of turn 4. Unfortunate. It's the tightest part of the racetrack, and it's the lightest of contact that started it off, and then the 82 twitches and creates the bigger contact, and that's a good save from Lucido too, because that could have been a bigger incident, and his Fasher Bear could have been gone.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, both of those guys could have really hit the inside wall very hard, and fortunately they did.
Oh, no.
Issues. Uh-oh.
Yeah, he has disappeared, and it is not a short disappearance.
That's unfortunate for him, and he had a good run going. I think he was probably the second best car out here.
Dang.
That is
sucks.
Unfortunate. That does.
Well, we got some time under the caution break. We're going to use this opportunity to shout out our presenting sponsor on the night and for this series, because this broadcast is brought to you by Champion Power Equipment. Since 2003, CPE has earned a reputation for designing and producing the market's finest power equipment. With over 4.5 million generators sold in North America, Champion has decades of experience providing dependable and durable power products designed and engineered in the United States for the North American and world markets. Visit us at championpowerequipment.com for more information. Champion Power Equipment, powering your life. I'm just going to read the exact same line twice over again. Intelligent.
Man, just beating yourself up on the broadcast.
Your South Carolina's rubbing off on me.
Here we go, getting ready to get this thing back underway.
Oh, boy. Sabilo picks the outside again. Not too surprising. I think the leader's going to be picking that every single time tonight. He's going to have the advantage into the restart zone. The 77 goes, and we are back racing from IRP just about halfway through.
Yeah, I think Sabilo did not want to see that caution. He was pulling
they're
away.
wrecking behind. Kayla Mitchell goes spinning sideways. It's going to be a log jam through 1 and 2. Oh, James Loveland goes hard into the left front up the 67. That's going to be a faster pair kick. Sabilo spinning out. Oh, my gosh. He saved it, but Sabilo was spinning through 3 and 4 under caution. I was about losing my mind.
He must have downshifted too soon or something like that. Yeah, look at that. Just a massive hit there for Loveland. And that wow, look at that. Whoa, that man's drifting it.
I thought he was gone, man. I thought he was absolutely gone.
Wouldn't that just have been terrible for his whole team? I mean, you see the 67 of Kaylin Mitchell just get destroyed right there, and then Keegan in the lead spins out under caution.
Luckily he hung on to it, but unfortunately for Kayla Mitchell, He's got a lot of work to do now. That's going to be his fast repair out of the way. And he's going to have to come from the back.
A lot of drivers got some damage in that. And that was not minor damage as well. That was a lot of hits.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate right there. And you know what? I think, I got to be honest, I think these guys got so used to the old tires, and they did not know what to do on the cold tires.
I think they might have gotten used to having a lot of space and didn't know what to do with having no space also. Well, to be fair,
a combination of both. I mean, really.
I'm more looking at, there was some stuff further back in the pack where people were coming together. For Kalen Mitchell, I agree 100%. Sorry, I don't know why I went off on a different tangent. I agree. He, self-spin down in the corner, driving in too hard. Cold tires can absolutely catch you out. There were guys further back that were wrestling, and I feel like we're gonna have a couple more boxing matches on another couple restarts coming forward, because I'm telling you, the middle of the pack is a mess. And now there's a couple fast cars back there, like Kalen Mitchell.
Yeah, he's definitely one of them, and we'll have to see if he can kind of work his way through. I'll tell you, one driver that's been slowly but surely having a quiet night, working his way up through the field. He had an atrocious run last week at Pocono. James Harris, who of course won the first 3 races of this season, he did awful at Pocono, just plain awful at Pocono, and he finished.
Hang lap at the man.
He finished like 20-something. He DNF'd. It was a DNF. He did not finish the race, and he's up to 4th now. So good redemption story right here. Of course, he is still the points leader, even after last week.
Did he gain on Kalen Mitchell last week and Sabilo?
Couldn't have. I mean, I don't know.
Did they finish terribly too? I mean,
I can't remember. I have to look at the standings.
Mitchell was 5 points back before Pocono. Sabilo was 7 after Pocono. Mitchell is 8 points back, and Sabilo is 9.
Yeah, I'd have to look at where. But I mean, still though, good race for Harris. Yeah, I'm definitely curious.
There's drop weeks included. Drop weeks.
Yeah, I think that. Okay, yeah, I forgot all about that.
So it's not even including his Pocono race in those points results. That is why he's still in front. Okay, now that we've got that cleared up, James Harris with the drop weeks is still your points leader, and that's no surprise because he's got 3 freaking race wins. So if you include drop weeks, he's there's 2 drop weeks, right?
I think there's only 1.
Oh, okay, only 1. Then out of the 4 races that counts, he has 3 firsts and a second. And that's going to get you the points. But we're coming back to the restart, and he's sitting up there in 4th. And, well, 4th is a whole hell of a lot better than 3rd on these restarts, with the leader choosing the outside. Keegan Sabilo on the outside, coming down to the green flag. And we're racing once again at IRP. Not a great jump from the outside line. Sabilo went really, really late. James Harris fighting Andrew Hale around the outside immediately through 1 and 2, pushing that 55.
Well, we talked about drama last week. I remember I told you about drama. Well, guess who the drama was between? The 4 and the 55. And they are now side by side at a short track. So, yeah, this could go either 1 or 2 ways. But it looks like, I think, maybe if Harris can get clear, big sin from the 4.
Ooh, Carter Casey to the inside. Could it be 3? Not quite, coming off of turn number 2. They end up settling it out single file. James Harris, that was a power move coming through 1 and 2 to get to the right rear. Or to get to the right rear quarter panel of Andrew Hale. He got it. I mean, man, he made that work.
No, he's definitely looking quick, and I think, before that caution flag came out, he actually had worked his way up to 6th place. We got problems.
Further back, spinning down into the grass.
19 of John Legger spinning down in front of everybody.
Oh, Kalen Mitchell, he's destroyed again.
Oh no. That's going to end his race. I mean,
why did he not take his fast repair?
He may not have. You can see right here, the 19 just gets loose. Oh, we're going to get to watch all the rest of it.
He might have accidentally taken the fast repair under the first pit stop.
He could have.
I guarantee you, he touched the wall at some point, got the tiniest bit of damage, it used the fast repair, and then he had none left.
You see the 19 right there, gets into the outside wall, And I think he's going to get loose right here. He's already unsettled because of that wall hit. And just, I guess the truck just never settled again. So he was already kind of out of sorts, got loose. And there was just guys that were so close behind him that they didn't have any choice but hit him.
And it can do that, especially at racetracks with no banking. You know, the banking kind of catches that right rear, puts it in place, makes it sit. Place without any banking, it's kind of hard to get that right rear resettled after
I'm glad
it's
that wasn't worse.
disconnected.
That could have been worse, to be honest with you. I mean, that could have been a whole lot worse. There's only 2 other drivers who kind of caught in that. But, yeah, I'm wondering if you're right. You might be onto something because you can see the 67, I mean, clearly never did take his fast repair. He was not involved in that crash.
So, yeah, he's 2 laps down. That's weird.
I think he might have accidentally used it. And that's a big deal at a track like this. And that's unfortunate, man. I hate that for him. I think he just got a wave around, so he'll be back, I think, 1 lap down now.
Well, and that sucks because, you know, James Harris just used that throwaway race last week. So now the next time Harris has a bad one, it would hurt his points. Kalen at least had that over James. He didn't have that bad race yet that was absolutely disgusting where you had to use the fast repair. So, yeah, he was losing in the point standings, but he still had that cover kind of, right? It kind of masked the problem. Well, that's gone now. He had that one advantage, and unfortunately, it's disappeared.
Yeah, and he's been really consistent this season. You got to give him a lot of credit. I mean, this is, you know, he's relatively new to this series. I mean, and has been really, I think, lighting up the charts in a lot of ways when it comes to just how impressive he's been for being so new. And so it's unfortunate. You know, you're going to have ups and downs, especially when you're new to a series. But I definitely could see, you know, that Kalen could be a future champion in this series.
I'd have to agree with you on that. I think he's got the speed. It's just can he clean it up, be consistent enough? And, you know, he's still close, right? We just talked about he's using his drop week. He's going to be still probably 10-ish points behind James for the points lead with half the season to go. I mean, that's not – you got plenty of time to make up 10 points. James is going to have at least one more bad race, you got to think.
I don't know. He surely doesn't want to have a bad race, I'm sure. But, you know, you never know.
We still got Daytona where everybody could crash out. You know, there's some wild cards in there. Isn't there a road course in there somewhere? There might be a road course, too. So I feel like there's some opportunity.
So. Well, Watkins Glen, yeah.
So there's some opportunity. There's some opportunity later in the season to spice it up, I feel like. And we're just going to have to wait and see if Kalen can hold on for it. Watkins Glen is the third to last race of the season. So Daytona's next week.
That's going to be fun. Let's get this thing going.
Coming back down to the green flag once again. Keegan Sabilo back to the gas. Easy jump this time. James Harris has that second place position. Going to be tough to hang on to that. It's so weird, man. The fourth place spot is almost better than second, but Casey actually gets shoved out. Harris getting his elbows out, taking second away.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you, Harris did really good through 1 and 2 right there. Casey was able to launch really well, but was not able to really capitalize through 1 and 2. So that just shows you, yeah, you can hit the gas first, but are you able to get through 1 and 2? That's going to be the question. Look at this. Toby Ritter's up here in 4th place right now. This is a driver we don't talk about very often at all. Up here in the top 5. Got to give him a lot of credit. So definitely loving that. Ryan Jalick. We were talking about Jalick qualified up in 3rd. Fell all the way back outside of the top 10. He's back up in 6th. Got to give him a lot of credit, too.
Yeah, it's a good recovery. From the 0-2 up towards the front. Just about side by side for second. Further back, they are side by side. I mean, there's still some good battling throughout the field. Brian High down on the bottom, trying to pick up spots. William Mann Jr., though, trying to slow him down. He's got the positioning on him. Does Brian hang on to the... Oh, I thought Gurrell was going to get that right rear coming off of 4. But luckily, they're able to sort it out. Gurrell on the outside. James Loveland, I believe he's used a fast repair, but that right front is still destroyed. He's looking to the inside of Gurrell now. This is for the final spot in the top 10.
Yeah, Kenneth Gurrell, I think he's pretty good at short track racing here, trying to be in the top 10, fighting off Loveland. Of course, Loveland's been a very impressive driver in this series. You see, of course, George Young trying to work his way up as well. Very heated battle back here on the edge of the top 10. You love to see it. You know, no matter where you look in this Champion Power Equipment Truck Series field, there's guys battling, including for second place. Carter Casey, not happy being in third. He wants second.
Yeah, and as these guys are side by side, it's just letting the 77 pull even further away without having to push those tires. Keegan Sabilo saying, thank you very much, guys. I'll just back it down and still pull away from both of you as you're side by side. Casey, all the way down to the very bottom, all 4 tires down on the bottom line. Absolutely no banking down there on the very bottom. He's sliding it down into the bottom of 1 and 2, trying to go for a diamond. What can he do on the exit? Can he get the rotation? A little bit of a run, but he just can't get enough hay to actually complete the pass. Just even, dead even, every time they come off the corner.
Yeah, definitely interesting to see that for sure. I'm surprised that Harris is not really pushing it. I don't think Harris is really trying to pull away from Casey. I think he's capable of more speed than this right now. But also, look at that. It's bringing in the Big Red, Clifford, the Big Red Dog, there in the 23. He's in the battle, too. I mean, this whole battle for second is bringing in a lot of other drivers. I mean, you see Andrew Hale. He's about a 10th back. You see Ryan Jalick. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are kind of closing in because of the battle for second.
Casey loses out. He's going to have to cool down those tires and go again. Oh, instead, the yellow flag's going to come out and save him. We might be able to get some tires. John Lacido, that's probably going to be the end of his night. He's taking a fast repair. It's not the end of his night. It's going to hurt him.
Well. Or not Casey, Barletta, I think, was involved in this. Barletta's got some smoke pouring out of that machine. He might have an engine issue.
Oh, he cleared himself.
Oh, yeah. That's why I saw the smoke coming out of that truck. There's definitely an engine issue with the 81. Just head on right in front of the wall. You see the 81 and the 73 battling here.
And I don't think Lacido can do anything different. You got to cut that corner ever so slightly coming off. You know, the one before, I thought maybe he ran, it was like 50-50, but I thought maybe he pinched just a little bit much in the middle of the corner, but it was 50-50, so I didn't really think anything or say anything of it. This one, I mean, he had nothing else to do. There was nothing Lacido could have done on that one, but regardless, this gives us an opportunity to take our final commercial break of the racing action. So be sure to stay with us because we got 50 more laps of racing action coming at you live on the other side. Welcome back to tonight's Champion Power Equipment iRacing Truck Series from IRP. Keegan Sevilo, he's on the outside. He's in the race lead in that red Mac Tools truck, number 77. Champion Power Equipment on the inside with James Harris in that number 55. It's been all Keegan Sevilo tonight, but can James Harris do anything down on the inside of turn number 1 this time? Sevilo drives it in deeper. Harris had a good restart. I thought maybe, just maybe, he could keep that inside to the left rear quarter panel. Not able to do it through 1 and 2. Sevilo back out front.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to hold off that 77 or to be able to even try to attack him. I mean, he's just so flawless at these short tracks, and he seems like he just is fast and is able to save tire at the same time. But here comes hit the resume button, hit the play button for this battle for second place. As you can see, Casey trying to once again get to the side of the inside of the 55. Also a battle right now for fourth. Andrew Hale diving it in on the 23. This is a pretty good battle right now. Ooh, Casey getting very close to the back end of the 55.
That caution lets people like Casey, who had burnt their stuff up, trying to fight on the inside, maybe got the tires a little bit too hot, gives them an opportunity to cool them down. Let them get back down to a pretty decent operating temperature and go right back at it. And he has done it since the drop of the green flag on this restart. To the inside of James Harris. Once again, Andrew Hale's taking that fourth place spot away from Ritters. So Ritters drops back to the fringes of the top 5, back in 5th. And Sevilo still pulling away. You give that 77 clean air and a clean truck, and he is just not going to give you a chance.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to beat him. I mean, that's wonder why we picked him here. It's Brian High into the outside wall. A lot of very heavy battling back here. This could go awry at any moment. You can see Nick Jaboski on the inside trying to battle his way by Brian High, but Brian High definitely not making it easy to pass him here. As you can see as well, John Lucido, who was in that last accident, still in the mix. See Brad Thacker, of course, trying to hold on to that 12th place position. What a fight back here. This is the most exciting racing that has been here tonight. Of course, as we have crossed that lap 100 threshold just a couple laps ago.
These guys fighting hard back here. A couple guys that I thought were down and out, and a couple guys that got together earlier and just got together again coming out of turn number 4. Nick Jezebowski and John Lucido finding each other again, man. I don't know what it is about Jezebowski and not wanting to win this race. But
yeah, we got some battling going on right here. I mean, you can see Andrew Hale getting very close to hitting the back end of Carter Casey. That brings Toby Ritters into the equation as well as you see Ryan Jalick has worked his way up to 6th. Look at, as well, William Mann Jr. battling with Jason Taylor right now, looking at possibly a top 10. Some of these guys are on newer tires, and one of the drivers that is on newer tires, William Mann Jr. He was in 11th place, pitted, and now has driven his way up to 8th, possibly going to have 7th here. New tires working for William Mann.
If this thing runs green, do they have enough pace to get up there into the top 3? Sevilo might be a little bit too much to ask for. He's so far out in front. But can these guys get up onto the podium with those tires? I think it's possible, man. Casey and Harris are not invincible.
No, not at all. I mean, those new tires give, and it's, I would say that William Mann's not faster than a lot of the guys around him, but it does give him more mobility. That's the thing I think that's so important, is it gives you a little bit more stability. As you see, Kenneth Gorell, woo, big send for him on the 29. There's a lot of battling back here. A lot of these guys trying to make something happen, try to get the top 10. You can just tell that the competition level here in Champion Power Equipment Truck Series competition is just so high. I mean, it's very difficult to get up here in the top 10. Especially when you're on a fixed setup as well. There's nothing you can really do, or not a lot you can do, I should say, to differentiate yourself from the other competition. It's based on how good you're able to drive the equipment you have.
Yeah, the only thing that you can really change that I feel like gives you any type of advantage of a place like this is that brake bias. I mean, your steering ratio matters too, but the brake bias is the main thing. Can you point the nose of your car with your brake pedal instead of your steering wheel? If you can learn how to do that and do it precisely without wrecking yourself, it's hard. But if you can learn it, that's how you save tires in a place like this. Oh, yeah. And it's how you make speed whenever you want to push. I'm telling you, it's all about what you can do with the brake pedal. And I just feel like you're seeing guys like Sabilo able to do a little bit more with it, and you're seeing that battle around the top 10. Maybe a couple guys that just don't quite have that nailed down, and maybe having to use somewhere closer to the default setting on the brake bias, not turning it down, even though you probably should.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, that's something that these guys can adjust on, and especially at a track like this. I mean, you know, at a mile and a half, it probably doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to do that quite as much. I mean, but any place you have to use that brake pedal, there is a benefit to having that, you know, close at hand, to have that maybe, you know, let's say hotkeyed on your steering wheel, right? I mean, just to be able to adjust your brake bias on the fly. And also you can adjust that as the run goes on. For people that don't know, let's say you're doing a 50-lap run, and maybe you want to, for the first 10 laps, you want a certain brake setting. And then, you know, the last 20, you want a certain brake setting. You can adjust that throughout the run, which is something that I think a lot of drivers would find hard to do. I mean, it's hard enough to turn laps here, Austin.
That's
but
why
I mean,
like
some of the good guys
my steering wheel has a little turn knob. One of my steering wheel has a little turn knob, and it's hotkeyed to my brake bias. And
some guys can do it.
It makes it easier, and especially as the run goes on, you turn it down because you notice that whenever you brake in the same spot, you're driving too deep into the corner because your front tires are gone. Well, you can kind of turn that down a little bit, and it'll get the brakes going again. It's helpful, man. Very helpful. Side-by-side battle for second, though. Harris looking to put up a fight again using that outside line, trying to hang on to second.
And like I said, there's no love lost between these two drivers. These guys have history. They have a storied history. I mean, multiple incidents between these two guys. But it looks like Hale is going to get the pass completed, up now to second place. And that was pretty clean racing. Got to give these guys a lot of credit. They showed a lot of respect there. I'm glad to see these racers able to kind of race each other with some respect. As Carter Casey now trying to attack Harris. Harris definitely off the pace compared to a lot of the guys around him right now.
Yeah, Hale made that look easy after Casey struggled lap after lap with it. We're going to have to wait and see. If Casey gets this done relatively soon, you got to think that Harris's tires are just hurting really, really bad, and he pushed really hard to try to hang on to this track position. Casey peering ahead, further ahead than he has this entire fight. Looking to take this spot away from Harris, get himself back into the podium. That's going to be third for Carter Casey. Not quite clear yet, but he's going to be down into 3. I'd be a little bit worried if I was the driver of the 55. Losing 2 spots back-to-back like that with the outside line being your defense, that 55 might start sliding.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with the 55. I definitely think he's struggling. I don't think his pace right now is looking very good. And it could have something to do with even maybe the usage of the track. It could be some of the conditions are not suiting Harris at the moment. Maybe he slid the tires one too many times. I mean, it's very easy to do. We talked about how easy it is to burn up your equipment. I mean, it's really easy to do. And you can see now that these guys have gotten by Harris, they're pulling away. I mean, Hale, once he got by, he drove away to a second on these guys. And Casey's doing is essentially the same thing. So definitely some struggles going on with the 55. But I'll tell you what, who's not struggling? Keegan Sabilo out to over 4 seconds right now. And we're coming up to 30 laps to go very soon.
Why did our producer not pick this guy?
I don't know.
Is he stupid? Oh, they're wrecking further back.
Ryan Jalick.
Jalick finds a fence.
But
everybody keeps it straight. That sucks, man. He's in the top 10. He's running 6.
Qualified third. Fell outside of the top 10. Worked his way back up to 6th. And then he just has an issue. I don't know if he just got loose right here, maybe.
William Mann on his inside.
I don't think he knew William Mann was underneath him there. I definitely wouldn't. I wouldn't put that on William Mann. I feel like Jalick was coming down on the 29 there.
I mean, you're always cutting off that corner, so you're always going to come down. It's just whether he came down enough to be at fault. I don't know. It's again just it's close on the exit of that corner. You have to pinch off the exit. You can't run the fence coming out of that corner. It squares off too heavy with the angle that you're coming out of it. You cannot do it. So you got to square it off. But he did come down a good ways. It's tight. It's tight.
A lot of guys are struggling right now. I'm seeing a lot of guys getting loose, a lot of guys hitting the wall. I mean, I saw Toby Ritters just do that. He just smacked the wall. William Mann Jr., after that tire call, back in 11th place, has moved his way up into 6th place, and he's catching up to William Mann Jr. here, or catching up to himself, Toby Ritters. But he is doing very well right now, moving his way. Also, I got to say, what a recovery from John Lucido. Up to 8th right now. Was involved in a crash a little bit early.
He's on newer tires, too.
He's in it. I mean, yeah, he's on
Putting
newer
to work.
tires.
He's making it. How about William Mann Jr.? He's about to break into the top 5, man.
Yeah.
What a call to take those tires whenever that yellow flag flew. And you're just going to start seeing these leaders fall off ever so slightly more. And I think it's going to be easier and easier for William to pick them off as long as he didn't burn them up too hard at the beginning. If he tried too hard to pass the first few, then he might start struggling. But I don't know. I feel like all these guys are just going to start falling off even heavier in front of him. Ritter's doing a good job hanging on to 5th, though.
Yeah, but I think William Mann's doing good running that bottom line. I think that's going to help him in his tire conservation efforts as well. I mean, whoa, boy. Goodbye, William Mann Jr. He almost lost it completely there, but what a save. As you can see, John Lucido, getting close to the 15 here. Big battling going on. You can tell the piranhas are in the water. Blood just hit the water.
Oh, are we going to end up being 3? Where does the 73 put it?
You could tell as soon as that 29 lost it, the blood, it's like they just threw chum in the water and a bunch of sharks started getting hungry.
I mean, it's just all got these guys under a blanket. I mean, we got 5 trucks on one little tiny screen on a short track right here, and we're not even close to a restart. Brad Thacker into the fence, able to save it. Close call. Jazabowski on the inside. Not going to win this race. To the inside of Thacker, trying to get into the top 10. Sorry, he's in 10th. He's trying to get to 9th.
Yeah, very good recovery for the 82. Got to give him a lot of credit. I know he was he had a rough day. He's had a rough day, but he is back up into the top 10, trying to work his way up to 9th, as you just mentioned. Of course, Toby Ritter still in 5th. Jason Taylor's moved his way up to 6th place after getting by William Mann Jr. and Jabowski, though. In the midst of this fight with Thacker, see Loveland licking his lips, hoping to get into the top 10.
Nick Jazabowski up to 9th in front of Brad Thacker. Loveland trying to get in there. Man, a little tight coming out of 2. Trying to fight his way back into the top 10, even with all that damage that Loveland's had. Loveland's been quick this season. I feel like he hasn't got the results that he deserves. Very well could have, should have won Nashville. Didn't happen. I think Loveland's somebody that we very well could see in victory lane by the end of the year. He just hasn't had the night that I was expecting. He's typically had better runs this season. Just hasn't been there for him tonight, but I think that speed's going to come back whenever we come back to a couple of more traditional style of racetracks, I'd say, to the NASCAR vehicles. The bigger stuff.
No, I agree. I think Loveland has definitely – there's tracks that he'll show up and you'll be like, man, look at this guy. Like, he's fast. Like, he's really fast. And so I would not be surprised that there's going to be a track that's going to really, really suit him. And that could be, sooner rather than later. I mean, we got, of course, tracks like, I think, Michigan coming up. I mean, that might be a good track for a guy like Loveland. It says you see Lucido fighting now Taylor for that 6th place position. I do want to let everybody know that Lucido is on newer tires, as you mentioned. Taylor is on the same amount of tires as everybody else here. And you can see that's why Lucido was able to pass so easy here. He's going to be moved up to 6. So what a recovery for this 73. We got to give him a lot of credit in that Green Mountain Grills machine.
Yeah, he's did a great job rebounding. I mean, all the way up to 6 after, I thought his race was done after spinning into the inside wall. He had already used the fast repair, thought it was done and dusted, but good recovery up to 6. Good points tonight at the end of the day. Kind of thinking of the points, Sevilla looking to cut into that lead that James Harris has. Harris, this is going to be his worst finish that is counted in the points so far. Obviously, the drop week taking care of that Pocono race last week. So this 4th place will go to the points for James Harris. I'd imagine he'll still have the race lead. Sabilo was a good ways back, but the 77, I mean, you come to the short tracks, you expect to see Keegan Sabilo up front, and, well, we're not being disappointed. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I talked to James Harris before the race, hung out with him for a minute or two, and he talked about his goals for tonight. He said he's like, I know I'm not going to win this race. That's not my goal. My goal is finishing the top 5, and that's exactly where he's at. So I think mission accomplished if he stays where he's at for the next, less than 15 laps. So there you go.
Is he going to be frustrated if he doesn't get into the top 5? Or sorry, you said James Harris.
No, he said he wants top 5, and I think he's right there. He's right there.
I was stuck on Lucido from earlier for some reason.
But yeah, but Sabilo though, I mean, think about last season's season with Sabilo. I mean, the guy won so many races. I think we won like 3 or 4, if I'm not mistaken. This season, this is going to be his first win if he's able to seal it. So, I mean, this is not a normal season, or should I say a good follow-up season from last season for Sabilo. This is going to be, hopefully, the turnaround this driver needs. I do want to make sure that everybody is aware that the 24 of Nathan Meyer is not here. He won the championship last season. He's not in competition here. That's kind of curious. And I talked to, of course, Harris before the race. He talked about Meyer being, I do believe, on some sort of trip. He's away from his sim rig, and that kind of maybe could take him out of a championship hunt. So it's forming to where I think we're going to see a Keegan Sabilo, James Harris, Kalen Mitchell fight for a championship possibly. But then again, Kalen might have just exited the fight for the championship unless he can use that drop. Unless this is his drop and he doesn't have a better finish.
Problem is they got Daytona next week, and if you've used that drop, you're risking a lot going to Daytona. Michigan the week after that, basically Daytona North. I mean, well, to be fair, the new trucks, it might race a little bit different. It's probably not going to be super speedway. It might be a little bit different of a race at Michigan. Richmond, Watkins Glen, a little bit of a wild card. Honestly, don't know who's going to be quick there. Milwaukee Mile and Darlington. So, those tracks between those 3 drivers, with Richmond on there, Daytona, the Glen, I think I'm leaning Sabilo.
Yeah, I mean, this could be his first title. I know that's probably what he wants. I mean, he definitely seems like he's got the pace to get it done.
If it was IRP the whole season, he definitely does.
Oh yeah, no. If it was like short track seasons, because like a lot of times with those short track, like we got the track championship, then it would be Keegan's all day long. But because we go to other tracks, everybody else has a chance. I mean, even so, we've talked about
and now everybody has a chance once again. Holy crap! Nick Jazabowski will not win this race.
That's unfortunate, to say the least. I'm curious.
And he has just thrown for his teammate on the inside of William Mann Jr. Oh, just push too hard. Push too hard. Sabilo's pitting from the lead. Oh my gosh.
Well, I don't think anybody's staying out here. That would be. Unless we see a caution.
Somebody is staying out. Somebody is staying out 100%.
If we see a caution, then maybe I could see that maybe working out. Because, if we get a caution, I don't know how. I can't remember. I think we got 2 green, white checkers, if not.
I was about to be so mad if we didn't see people come down pit road. Jazabowski didn't come down pit road after just pit. Okay.
Well, he is staying out.
I'm gonna lose my thought.
Yep, 2-tire call from Andrew Hale.
But that ends up hurting him. Because he's gonna start 3rd. The one spot you don't want to start.
I mean, we'll see how that actually affects him. I mean, this is the new truck. We haven't seen a whole lot of 2-tire calls in the truck.
Well, I'm not upset about the 2 tires. It's a decent call to give yourself track position. The problem is he's got 2 people that have stayed out in front of him. So he's going to be starting in 3rd place, and especially at IRP with the leader picking the top, 3rd place is the worst place to start.
I don't know. I wouldn't have called staying out at all. So who knows where Brad is going to? He might choose bottom. Who knows? I wouldn't have called him staying out. So.
With this many laps left, especially if you're running outside the top 10, what do you have to lose? You're going to finish there anyway. Stay out.
You're going to definitely have some people upset with you. I'll tell you that.
Oh, screw it. There's 3 laps left whenever we go racing.
I mean, these things are hard to win. I get that.
Just hug the bottom of the racetrack and hope and pray that you get out of the other side, and everybody else might die behind you. They've actually lowered the caution laps. So we were going to have 2 laps to green. It's now 1 lap to green. So we're going to have four green flag laps. Oh,
Lights
never mind. The laps are back on. I don't know.
It's going to be a 3-lap shootout here between the competition. So, but if a caution comes out before we hit the white flag, then we're going to line them back up and do it again. Green, white, checker. And then if we have a caution after that, I'm not sure how many green, white checkers we have. I think it's 2, if I'm not mistaken, that we have a possibility of running here. We're getting ready to see. This is going to be wild. I guarantee everybody out here is sweating. We talked about fist fights earlier in this race.
I think
we're getting ready to see that.
Do they spin their tires? I'm just, oh man, I'm so nervous. We're coming down to the green. We're about to figure this one out. The Champion Power Equipment iRacing Truck Series from IRP is about to finish up. 4 laps to go. Can we finish this thing under green? Brad Thacker, Nick Jazabowski staying out on tires. What can they do with the old set of good years? We're back racing. Huge stack up in the second row. Nobody really gets going. Andrew Hale, Dorbanks, Carter Casey. Keegan Sabilo through to the lead on Brad Thacker already coming out of turn number 2.
What a race, though, between Hale and Casey there. Hale got held up and just decided, he was like, I don't care. Bonsai. Look at Casey. Bonsai through the middle trying to get by Thacker. This is going to end up being a wreck. Yellow flag is out.
Yellow flag further back. Oh, Casey. Casey just about wrecked. It's,
wow.
There's nowhere to go.
And unfortunately, I do believe Nick Jazabowski, the cause of the crash again. We're going to look at it.
No way. Nick Jazabowski will not win this race.
No, actually, no, I think it was George Young, actually.
It's not, yep, that's George Young. Well, George Young will not win the race either, even though that doesn't fit the meme.
I thought it was, yeah, because I thought it was the 82. Do apologize, Nick.
Well, he's been involved in just about everything else tonight, so that's okay.
See George Young. That's unfortunate for George. Just getting loose, looks like.
He's gonna hate me after this broadcast. So, a little tidbit before the broadcast, I went in for about 3 or 4 minutes and talked to Keegan, Kalen. Nick was in there, and Nick was talking a big game. He was saying that he had a lot coming for the field tonight, and that I just needed to sit back and watch because he was gonna do something.
Yeah.
And it's it hasn't panned out quite the way. The night has just not panned out quite the way that Nick Jazabowski wanted. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. You know, maybe
I hate talking big game. I hate it whenever that happens, man. It does not feel good.
Yeah.
And now I'm calling him out on broadcast, so everybody knows.
Well, he shouldn't have told the broadcaster that. You shouldn't have told a commentator that, and then wreck a couple times.
Yeah, you can't call your shot and then strike out.
But this has definitely gotten really interesting. As I mentioned, 2 green-white checkers we have here
poor
to
Nick.
play around with. Keegan Sabilo. He has the advantage. If he could just nail these restarts, and I don't think that's going to be a problem for him, but it's everybody else that's going to be the problem.
The only thing that can take this race away from Sabilo is if Hale junks him coming down to turn 1. I really think that the 77's got this thing locked up.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be real tough to even get to the 77 to junk him. I think that's going to be, unless he really messes up on one of these restarts.
I feel like if you're Hale, you've just got to time the restart and hope that you don't jump it. I feel like that's your only shot, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know how Hale's sitting in the points, so maybe, if you're not fighting for the championship, might as well jump the restart. If you get the black flag, oh well. If you're not going for the champ, just go for the win.
And who knows what John Lucido does in this as well. I mean, he's starting up on the top. He
What in the world, man? Where's Aceto come from?
He's in third. I mean, he's gonna be pretty much running third.
That's insane. Well, we're coming back to the green flag. 2 green-white checkers could be on store for us tonight. We're hoping to just only use 1. Coming out of turn number 4. The green flag is flying, and Keegan Sabilo is back to the race lead. Hale did not get a good jump, and Sabilo's going to be gone.
Yeah, really good start there for the 77. Battle on for a second as you can see Lucido desperate to try to get up there into that second place position. He's got the preferred line, but the 4 sending it. Of course, he did take 2 tires. Seems like that truck's not handling too terribly bad. Do make the white flag.
Oh, they're wrecking huge. Coming out of turn number 4, the white flag is flying, so the race is official. Andrew Hill takes second. John Lucido crosses him back over, coming down the back straightaway. It's a parking lot on the front straightaway and down into turn number 1, but coming through turns 3 and 4, it's going to be Keegan Sabilo. He's dominated this thing. Coming out of turn number 4, he wins from IRP.
Wow, look at there's trucks. There were trucks on the front stretch.
He was literally a parking lot.
Yeah, I thought that he was going to maybe hit one of them, but great job to Keegan. First win of the season. As we look back at this accident, and it looks like, oh, wow, that's not good. And that's Jaboski, unfortunately involved.
Nick Jazabowski will not win this race. He did not win this race.
I don't think he finished it.
He didn't. He was a lap down. Oh,
see right here, a little bit of contact. Legger gets into the back.
Oh, man.
Wow, what a violent crash.
That might have been a strikeout for the 82. That was definitely not a Babe Ruth moment. He did not call a shot.
And you can see the 77 doing some burnouts. The 48, of course, George Young apparently thinks he's won as well. He did finish 10th. So.
That delivery was great. But we're going to use this opportunity to take our final commercial break. When we come back, we're going to interview the top 3. Stay with us. To the Champion Power Equipment iRacing Truck Series. We've just finished up the racing action from Indianapolis Raceway Park, and Keegan Sabilo dominated this thing. He led the most laps, and he takes the checkered flag home even after the cautions at the end that tried to derail him. Andrew Hale in second. John Lucido rounds out your podium. James Harris in fourth. Carter Casey in fifth. Ryan Jalek sixth. James Loveland in seventh somehow. William Mann Jr. in eighth. Jason Taylor ninth. And George Young rounds out your top 10.
11th place, John Legger. 12th place, Toby Ritter, who was running up in the top 5 a little earlier. That's unfortunate for him. Brand Thacker, 13th. Nick Jazabowski does not win this race. He finishes in, it looks like in 15th, I believe. They got the order kind of mixed up there. 5th, Garrell, 14th. Caleb Mitchell, 16th. 17th, Brian High. 18th, Harley Barletta. And, of course, 18th and 19th, Cody Hemingway, who ran up in the top 3 earlier. That's unfortunate for him as well.
Unfortunate disconnect for Hemingway, but that's going to do it for the full race rundown. Next up, we're going to start talking to a couple of our podium finishers. We're going to find a couple of them. Oh, it looks like somebody's pulled Mr. John Lucido up, our third place finisher. John, it was, to say the least, an eventful night for the driver of the 73 tonight. You were involved in everything. At one point on broadcast, I remember saying, I think that one's going to do it for John. He dozed it in the inside wall, and then you completely come back and finish third. So walk us back how the hell you came through the field and got us a podium there at the end.
I mean, after the second or third incident, I was just like, you know what? I'm using my fast repair, and I'm going to hang around the back and wait until, there's just probably 30 or 40 laps left and try to work my way to the front. And cars that were causing issues kind of took care of themselves and made my way around.
Now, you were on the newer tires for a little bit and got up towards the top 5. You were slowly inching yourself up a little ways. You had become the highest runner on the fresh tires after Man Jr. had a little bit of an issue, and you passed a couple more. And you had gotten about to that 5th place spot. The yellow flag comes out. Did you think, coming to that restart, that maybe you had a chance to win this thing?
You know, I thought there was a good possibility because Hale and the Sibila would have been battling pretty hard there, and all it would have taken was one of them to drive each other a little too hard and get in the wall and collect each other, and I could have drove on past. But took 2 tires and hung in there and see what we could do.
Well, nonetheless, congratulations on the 3rd place finish. Who do you have to thank at the end of this one?
You know, just you guys for putting on the broadcast, and Champion for sponsoring the league, and James for doing my paints.
Well, John, we appreciate you coming up and giving us a little bit of a chat after this one. Hectic night, and heck of a good points night for you at the end of the night. So congrats on your P3 finish, and looking forward to seeing what you can do next week whenever we go racing at Daytona, because I believe you won there a couple seasons ago. So looking to go back to back.
Yes, sir.
All righty, that was your 3rd place finisher, John Lucido. Next up, Brian Britt is going to be talking to our 2nd place finisher, Andrew Hale, and he doesn't seem too happy about it.
Andrew.
Nah, I was talking in the middle of a chat there.
Yeah, definitely a good finish for you there, Andrew. Up to 2nd place. It seemed like. Did you think you had anything for Keegan? I mean, Keegan seemed like he was lights out the best car here tonight. Do you think he could have did anything?
No. He can wrap the bottom and pull you down the backstretch. I don't know how he does it, but that man is fast on the short track.
That he is, for sure. Did you do a lot of preparation to kind of get good for this racetrack?
No. I hop in here and run, I think, 27 laps before the race, and then I qualify and run it.
Well, it definitely seemed like you knew what you were doing out there. I mean, you were able to work your way up to 2nd place. What was it like, just battling with all the other drivers out there tonight? Was it clean racing, or do you feel like, it was very difficult to pass?
It was clean racing, especially that long run there. I was just following in line, and I knew Keegan, he's a tire saver. He's really good. I was going to follow him. And then he cleared the 67. I couldn't do it, and that's what held me up for a while. Then I just tried some random timing the corner off and get long straightaway, and got up to his door and cleared him there on that long run. Apologize to him if I got into him there a little bit. I didn't mean to. Got a little loose on entry. But once we got going, I felt like I had good pace on the long run, just still couldn't compete with that 77 truck.
Yeah, it's very difficult to compete with him, of course, at tracks such as this. Of course, next week's Daytona. I know you, I think you are a driver that's pretty good at those super speedways. Are you excited about Daytona?
Yeah, no, it's luck of the draw, as I like to say it. We got a strategy we're going to try, but we're going to be missing a guy, so it'll be just me and Jason there, seeing what we can pull off again.
Yeah, because that's what I was remembered. I think last time you guys were at a super speedway, it was like either you or Jason that won. I think you guys have both kind of worked together very well, from what I recall. But who can we give a shout out to after your 2nd place finish here tonight?
I'd like to thank Champion Power Equipment for helping put this thing on. You guys up in the booth, all the guys we raced with, we raced pretty clean tonight to be a short track. Rubbing fenders as to be expected. They're on the last, what was it, green white checkered there. I was hustling it, got into the 73 a little bit, but hey, I apologize to him. He said it was racing, so.
Yeah, for sure. It didn't seem like it was too egregious from our end, but thanks for your time, Andrew, and we'll see you next week.
All right, see you guys.
Alrighty, that was Andrew Hale, driver of the 4 machine. I do believe Edstrom has, Keegan going to be dialed up.
Look at that. We've got the race winner, Keegan Sabilo, up in the broadcast booth. Once again, no surprise to have him up here, especially with it being, short track week. Who would have thought Keegan Sabilo would be in victory lane? Keegan, how was the race for you, man? It seemed a little slow at the beginning. It took you a little ways to climb from 5th to 1st, but once you got there, it was hard to take you out of that place.
Yeah, at the beginning, I just I screwed up on qualifying. That was my fault. I wrecked on lap number 1, pushing the entry too hard. So I really had 1 lap of heat in my tires, which was lap 2. I had to reset. So that didn't help too much. So I kind of had to go pretty easy. And just the problem here with IRP is what I saw from testing is the outside and the inside this time. There wasn't really a clear advantage of what lane was going to be so much faster. So it was kind of like you just kind of got stuck when you're side by side for a little bit there. But once we were kind of able to get up front and save our tires in the long run, which was what we needed there, we were able to get the track position we needed and kind of hang on. But yeah, it was fun a lot for tonight. Always love coming on one of these short tracks just without having to manage everything. It's always a good time. So thankful we got it done tonight at IRP.
Well, Keegan, you were the clear dominator tonight. You led the most laps. You were clearly the fastest car or the fastest truck. But unfortunately, NASCAR races are never quite so simple. You never just go to the end of these things, pack it up and go home. You always get that late yellow to throw a wrench into it. And well, you had to restart in 4th. After that pit cycle, what were you thinking whenever that yellow came out with about 7 laps to go? Like, did your heart just drop?
I kind of told myself that I was going to expect a yellow coming. I kind of figured it was going to come because, why would anything be easy? I kind of expected it to come there and I kind of had a little bit of a plan, but it went fast. And then I realized how big of a gap I had coming down the pit road because I was far ahead. And I'm like, all right, if I can take 4 here, I might be able to beat a bunch of guys out anyway. So went with the 4 tires. And then when I saw 2 cars stay out, I was a little worried. And then once I knew I needed Thacker to take the top. And if I knew, if Thacker took the top, we'd be okay. If not, it wouldn't be the best situation. So when he took the top and got the jump, kind of had a clear hole there. So definitely not what I wanted to see, but I kind of expected it coming.
Well, luckily it worked out for you. Even with the restarts, you were able to get the thing done. So big congratulations to you for winning tonight's race from IRP. Who do you have to thank to close us out for tonight?
Thank you. First of all, I got to give a huge thank you to Mac Tool, Stanley Black & Decker, Dwayne Higgins, Colin Ganibus, everybody that put this together. Just thank you to them. It's been awesome to run with them so far. I've had a lot of pressure to finally get that Big Mac Tool win here, and finally was able to get it done tonight. So that's a big relief for me. Been able to do some cool things. I know we got Spot 24 coming up this weekend. Got a lot of cool things going on, so I can't appreciate them enough for everything they've done for me and putting this together. Thank you to the rest of the sponsors, After Hours Restorations, Johnson iRacing Team, Abnum Box, everybody that makes this possible. And thank you to Champion Power Equipment for putting on this league for us, and James and everything he does. And lastly, thank you to you guys at Grid Vision for putting on this awesome broadcast, and Justin for the help that he does give me.
Well, we appreciate the kind words, Keegan, and I wouldn't be surprised if you were a NASCAR driver someday, because it's pretty good on the sponsorship rundown right after the interview. So big thank you for coming up and talking to us, and looking forward to see what you can do next week whenever we go super speedway racing. A lot different than the short track, so maybe it'll push you out of your comfort zone a little bit.
We'll find out. Maybe we've been close to winning Daytona before. I remember last season, so we'll see. It's gonna be right place, right time coming on turn number 4, so we'll find out.
We'll have to wait and see in 1 week's time whenever we go racing from the Daytona Speedway. Thank you once again, Keegan Sabilo, our race winner, for coming up and giving us a chat at the end of the night. Brian, it was a pretty good race out there tonight. I thought it was going to be more of a wreck fest. I was wrong. It was pretty competitive, pretty fun, pretty exciting.
Yeah, I thought it was really clean. I mean, you think you come into a short track like this and you think you're going to probably see a whole bunch of cautions. And I know, in the past in the Champion Series, we have had little bullring tracks like this kind of produce that kind of wreck field race. But that was not the case tonight. Not at all. We had long runs. I mean, we had 50-lap runs, where we got to see the tires wear quite a bit, which is something that I think I really enjoyed for sure. And I can't wait to see where we go to the opposite style of racing next week, Daytona.
Yeah, I enjoyed this one too, and I'm very, very excited for next week's race from Daytona, which reminds me, we need to take a look at this week's schedule coming up. If you didn't have, if you weren't tired of Lucas Oil Raceway after tonight, you got it again tomorrow night for the Thunderclap iRacing series at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And Thursday's at Bristol. Sorry, I just got a word from my producer in my ear. Thursday is Bristol for the High Slide Racing League. We got Nashville put in there. It's Bristol. So the better track in Tennessee. Thank goodness. 8:20 p.m. Eastern. And then Friday night, we're back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Oval for the Ryko Performance Friday night NIS Top Split. The first time in 4 seasons that we have seen the Indianapolis Oval in competition in NIS. Be sure to be there. That's going to be absolutely fantastic. And that's going to do it here from us at Grid Vision. And so, from the entire Grid Vision team, we'd like to thank you for watching and participating in the chat. For more information on getting your league broadcasted or starting your career in broadcasting, contact us on Facebook, X, or email us at info@gridvision.live. Congratulations to Keegan Sabilo on winning tonight's race from IRP. This had been Austin Edstrom alongside Brian Britt and Austin Derbyshire. We will see you next time on The Grid.